Oh, bro. This is a live that I never thought I'd see, but I guess we should get this started.
Hey,
Did you ever?
yeah, no, I never thought, but I like
Yeah.
where we're going, bro, and that's what we got to look at is where we're going with this.
Yeah. I just, when I started fishing with Gramps a few years ago, I thought I'm just going to ride this out until forever. I never thought that I would get to the point where that it
So
would,
where
that it
you're
would,
doing all the things,
yeah. I
what do
mean,
you have left to accomplish?
yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, yeah. I didn't think I would ever end the Fishing with Gramps lives. It's been fun. We've interviewed a lot of people between Chad Hoover and Christine Fisher and Fluke Master to local smaller channels. Who's Your Back Outdoors and a lot of these folks over the years. It's been really interesting, and I never thought it would come to the point where I would just say that's enough of that. But I guess we'll save that for the end of this live stream and talk about it more. But we've had a lot of people. We've had a lot of people. We did something major. A couple weeks ago, or I guess it's been a month or so. Um, I put up my fishing goals or my goals for 2023, and it's one of those things where um, I listed out some stuff that that I thought would be like hard to reach and do, but shoot, it's been a crazy. We'll have to start. Number one on the list was meeting Bill Dance, and we purposely went. As life members, it was like in lesson learned there. Next time we go, I'm going to do it as media because we're going to get a lot more access to other things. But it was fun going to the classic. It was one of those things where you got to meet Ralph, Army Outdoors for the first time,
Yeah,
and we went
that
and
was cool.
had an absolute blast and welcomed in another brother to Freedom Squad, and continuing to grow in ranks and build the crew. And I kind of wanted to do a real quick recap of our trip down to the classic because I never really did like a detailed video. I told you when we left that I was not gonna. I brought my cameras, but I was like, screw it. This is for me and you and just us and to enjoy it, which I mean, we really, really did. We did a little bit of everything over the course of a few days, but kind of tell me from your perspective what you thought about, going to the classic for the first time and how was it? What'd you think about it?
I loved every second of it. It was interesting because all the people that we got to meet, I enjoyed the vendors, talking to the vendors, just understanding that side of the industry. Um, I learned that when we go next time, I'll take a chair for you. Um,
I
you
need a
know,
back. Well, yeah, take one of the
I'll
Yetis in the backpack.
exactly. It'll be all good. So, no, it was more than I expected, a little bit overwhelming at times for me. Meeting Ralph was like one of the highlights because I didn't realize how much of a celebrity he is.
I know,
I mean,
right?
everybody and their brother knew Ralph. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm just here to be security.
I
So,
just Dave Mercer is like, Ralph is just running around. It's like, oh, here, dude, let me pull you up to the front of the stage and have this big Bassmaster photographer who's known throughout the world taking pictures of Ralph saluting during the national anthem while he's literally sitting there inches. He's getting water splashed on him from the bags at the weigh-in. He's so close. I mean, you talk about. I mean, how did we get to know such high end? Well, part of the veteran community. It's just that's the way we are.
right, right.
But I mean, you can't meet a more lovable guy who's the most giving of himself. The fact that he's still on active duty, he's broken, busted up, still does what he does, and he's working, volunteering for all kinds of various missions, while he's stationed at Fort Knox, from working at the VFW to last year, he led a team that was responsible for doing, funeral processions for military, in the Midwest. And then he's just an awesome, enjoyable, pure character of a person. I mean, if I ever met his mama, I'd give her a big old hug and said, "You did a great job on this young man," because that's just the kind of guy that Ralph really is. I doubt he's even in the chat tonight, but like it was just he's an incredible human being, and it's awesome to be, you call somebody like that a brother because you share those common bonds that we have in the veteran community.
And it was just that quick. I mean, instantly, that friendship, that bond. Yeah, it was incredible to get to know him. The other thing that surprised me was our Uber rides. The people we met on the Uber rides. One had coached, what was it, 2016? He coached a NCAA championship track and field team.
Yeah.
And then we met the guy that was a professional BMX biker that when he got old and retired, he retired to Knoxville and loved it.
Yeah, he was originally from New Zealand.
Like that.
Yeah, he was originally from New Zealand, because I was like, I know that accent. Tell me where you're from. And then it turns out he had been a professional BMX, bike guy for years, and they wanted to move to the States. And it was really kind of cool just to hearing his story. But yeah, we and the first guy that you didn't even get to meet, the first ride that I took there was another awesome individual who just, it's kind of funny. Just it's one of those things where you feel like that old Taxi Cab TV show where they put the cameras in and the guy running the cabs. We were the opposite of that. I really wished I'd have been recording, while we were sitting in the cab, because every single one of those rides was completely phenomenal. And it's just like we had a completely different character going to the Bassmaster Classic and back. And for those who didn't catch the story, the first day that we went there, the parking garage that we found was so far away from the venue, there was no way that I could have walked there at all. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? By the time I pay for a parking garage all day, I could probably just take a damn Uber and get dropped off at the front door. And so that's what I did. I left Jeremy and Ralph with Ralph's truck, and I went and checked in at the B&B, and then caught an Uber back and got dropped off at the front door. I hadn't even walked in. I hadn't even walked in the doors 2 seconds before somebody was yelling, "Gramps!" And I was like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me!" And of course, Jeremy and Ralph were just giving it to me like my bodyguards or entourage. Just, "Oh, here we go."
Through. Yeah.
But I tell you what, I mean, it was really cool seeing all the pros, meeting all the cool people, meeting the other YouTubers, that you kind of see and you follow all the time. And it was really cool because, you get so that you watch somebody for so long. It's like you feel like you know them, and you've done live streams with them, and it's like you're easy, it's like they're easy to talk to. And somebody asked me last night during Debo's live stream, who was I the most starstruck with? And it's like, oh, Chad Hoover is like, Chad. I'm past that with Chad, because Chad and I are now to the point where we're friends, and we talk, a few times a week. So I mean, it's, I've run into Gene Jensen enough times, but meeting Tyler's Real Fishing, such a pure, genuine, down-to-earth dude. Had the breakfast at Chick-fil-A, and that was incredible. I'm glad Ralph reminded us of that, and it was well worth going. Got to see Andrew Norby. I love his show. He's another, and for us being faith-based, Christian guys, not that we're super churchgoers, but we were raised that way. And to meet, John from Creek Fishing Adventures, another guy who doesn't run from his faith and is proud of, who he is, was really, a blessing. And it was really cool. But I'll tell you what, if I would have remembered the one I was the most starstruck with, I didn't expect to him to be like a fan of my channel and then never even would have thought about it. But I sit there and probably spent, I don't know, 20 minutes talking to Larry Melton Jr. And it was funny because he's a Berkeley guy and we're standing outside the Lou's booth back over by where Lou's, the mock baits, the Black Rifle coffee. You know, that was really cool. And because I was talking to about the whole knucklehead bass fishing thing to see if he was still gonna be able to try to jump in and then come for the Heroes Cup. So we were talking about that, and I don't know, we're going back and forth. And I said, man, I like your channel. You're a genuine young man. You know, you have a good time. And he's like, oh man, I love your videos too. And I'm like, what? He's like, bro, I watch your Old Town videos all the time. And that just, it kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, oh, snap. Okay. I never would have thought about that part of my, you know, my content that people watch, you know, looking for info on Old Towns and stuff like that. And I guess it makes sense because, you know, I've done a bunch of different stuff in the past. And this year, since we're going to be jumping in feet first into the kayak fishing thing and promoting it a lot, obviously, all right, I'm gonna stop and what do you mean what's going on? We're having the live stream. We're having the final Gramps live, and we're gonna talk about. I hope you all got a little bit of free time tonight because we got a lot of things to discuss. I mean, we really do, and you know, it's not clickbait. You know, I don't do that in my thumbnail titles, so I ain't lying to you. But we'll talk about some stuff that's, you know, and the stream is going to go up and down. We've got some things to do, but we're going to start out with the positive first. Okay. So, and that's why we wanted to start out by talking about the Classic because it was such a big impact on both of us. You know, a couple of, now so I'm going to tell you this, and between Jeremy and I, we really haven't talked about what we're going to talk about tonight because after I posted the title of the thing, this young man literally calls me on Facebook demanding an explanation. So yeah, Hunter, you watch the stream, homie. We're going to be here for a little bit because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But anywho, so talking to Larry Melton Jr. was really cool. And then, you know, getting to spend time, you know, talking to a bunch of different folks. I had a blast talking to Tom from Lou's, who have gotten to know online for a while. John, who is the Lou's and Strike King social media guy. I bet I spent a good 15, 20 minutes chit-chatting with that dude. He is just completely awesome. You know, so it was really cool getting to meet, you know, the guys in the Lou's and Strike King area because I've been, you know, Steve Parks, who has been one of my favorite tackle, you know, dudes with the Rage Tail thing for you know years and years, because me and my youngest actually met Steve years ago when he was first come out with the Rage Tail stuff, and I think it was right before his Strike King deal when he licensed the Rage Tail to Strike King, and he gave my youngest a hat, a whole bunch of the different, and John Michael could name every bait that he gave him because he fished with him forever. The shad with the
I think there's something wrong with the live stream.
Why you say?
Okay. I was getting text saying, is it down? But it looks to be working now, so.
Oh, I don't know who was.
Matt.
Oh, okay. I don't know. As far as I know, we've been going because the chat's been flying and we're still.
Okay, I was just making sure we was good.
All right. Everybody else out there, give us a thumbs up. Let us know, because if we're talking to each other, then okay. So yeah, I'm getting good feedback. So
okay.
Anywho, so but I tell you, one of, you know, when we talk about a lot of the stuff that we want to be doing with Freedom Squad, talking to, and it's funny because I didn't even realize who he was when Tom first brought him over. Was Sergeant Major Caldwell, Jamie Caldwell. He was wearing a Black Rifle shirt, and we saw him over in the Black Rifle booth. I didn't realize at the time who he was because he's the guy who runs the Lou's American Hero program for Lou's, and that was really cool. But he's also sponsored by Black Rifle, so he was working in those. You know, he was working in their booth too. But when he come over and started talking, and then I had that whole, I think you were standing there too. And I was like, oh, now I know who you are. And it just did dawn on me. I thought he was just a Black Rifle like VP or something. But no. Once he started, and this is why I designed this on the new tier 1 stuff. I'm like, I feel like such a jackass because I had no idea. And then we probably spent another 15 minutes talking about what they want to do with the American Hero program. And we were talking to him and Tom about fish ops and, all the stuff that KBF is doing, plus what we want to be doing with Freedom Squad as well, trying to get that whole kind of mix going in. So that was really cool. Other than that, I mean, we talked about a lot of the baits and some of the rods and reels and stuff like that last night on Debo's channel. Make sure you go back and watch that replay if you want to, see some of the gear and some of the new lures and stuff that we were doing, because, Randy and Debo were really interested in kind of what we were seeing. But, it's just one of those, the comments are just killing me. It was just one of those things that it was just, 3 days of stuff. We ended up watching the final weigh in, sitting back in the B&B with our feet up, relaxed, away from the crowd. But bro, first of all, thank you for coming with me. And I can't tell you again how amazed I was, and we stayed pretty much connected at the hip most of the time, but you were completely amazing in the crowds. And it was, I haven't seen you that kind of relaxed and not letting yourself get overwhelmed, while you didn't let me like overwork my legs and whatnot too. So big kudos for you dealing with that. And I can't just say how proud I was of you just being able to do that.
Yeah, it still amazes me sometimes. I had a couple of situations, but they didn't get out of hand. So, for me, that was a huge win, doing that. And, that's part of why this is my therapy. So,
yeah. Yeah, and really, because I realized, I knew you would have to break out of the classic, like when we were in the things, because you'd pop outside, smoke a smoke, catch some fresh air. But I mean, the fact that you actually went down into the live well and sat down there for the whole. Now, the good thing was when we got in there, it wasn't super crowded in that area. So you had elbow room. You weren't like standing in a big crowd of people. I was kind of monitoring you to make sure you were doing okay. And I think the fact that we didn't have that, we weren't super crowded in there probably aided with that. But then seeing all the pros come in and weigh in and everything was kind of the best distraction.
Yeah, it kept me focused right in front of me. And that was really cool because it didn't give my mind a chance to take in what else was going on around. Until
you weren't
the very end. And then I looked around and I was like petrified.
Yeah,
like,
you didn't. I didn't even realize either, dude, how much. I mean, we got down in there. We're kind of focused and BSing and looking at the stage. And it wasn't until they started doing all the weigh-ins and everything, and I started hearing the crowd yelling, and I started looking around and going, "Oh, this whole place is full."
Yeah.
And so it was something else too. But I mean, that was a blast. I mean, I'm certainly happy that we were able to go meet Bill Dance and all the other stuff. I told the whole story with the G-Man, and how that happened. If you didn't catch that last night, go watch Debo's, because like I told Jeremy, I was like, bro, it's just meant to be. We've seen the guy 3 times in the last 5 minutes as he's trying to run out of here. And I still ended up getting a picture with him too. So that was cool.
And the guy that stopped him
happened to be
is a channel member.
He's one of our fishing fam right here.
That was amazing.
That was so cool that a fishing fam member actually stopped G-Man for a picture. And at that point I was like, I can't not do this. We got to get his picture. So
I'm sorry, but
I'm sorry, but I know you got to go, but please. And it's like I told him, I said, look, dude, I've lost 50 some pounds since last summer just to be able to, stand and to be able to do this. But again, if you want to kind of, I went into a lot of this in detail last night on Debo's live. So be sure to go back and watch his replay. We taught you and catch all of the, Randy and Dizzle and Debo really going through, and we talked a lot about the stuff going on at the Classic. But moving on from that again, goal number one, first goal of the year was awesome. I should have put Classic on there plus Meat Bill Dance, but it was all just one awesome experience.
Yep.
So we didn't do an actual live stream coming back, just talking about that. So I knew we had to cover it for a little bit tonight.
Right.
But again, I talked about it in depth last night with Randy and Debo. So go back and watch that live too. So kind of let's jump in real quick. And, we always want to talk about the Catch 22 program or the Catch 22 challenge through KBF because it means so much to the causes that we believe in. And everybody who follows this channel knows that. The Catch 22 challenge you can do from the bank, the kayak, and they've even got boat stuff and other species. Obviously, but for raising funds for a great cause. Last year was Mission 22. This year it's Heroes on the Water. And Jeremy and I are both finally on the board because it is bass fishing season here in Indiana. Well, unless you're me and try to fish a tournament and can't catch no damn fish, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. But focusing on the knucklehead stuff, I at least wanted to pop up and let me present and share screen and go to Fishing Chaos and take a look at our leaderboard for this month. And there we have it. Okay, so I'm on, let's see, creek fishing. That's not where I wanted to be. Let's scroll down to what good old Team Creek's got a whole lot of people in his challenge. I need more people in ours. Oh, look, Glenn Landstrom has entered the race. That's going to make it really interesting. So we see John Long, who is, I think, North or South Carolina, or Virginia, maybe, who's leading the challenge right now. And I believe he is also in Chad's May. We're in April. I keep saying May. There's Fluke. Let me just check this real quick. Okay, so John is actually in Chad's. That's April? Okay, I got it. There we go. Now I got it right. Sorry, folks. I thought I saw this earlier, but let me make sure I'm sharing it the right screen. Yep, there we go. Okay, so John Lawton is leading both Team Gramps and Team Chad. So if he manages to win both of those, he'll pick which team he wants to fish for, and that would leave the person in second place to roll up and take that first place position for the May winner. And that right now is held by Liza, followed by Levi Bulgren. And we've got a whole bunch of folks in here too. So there's our Indiana Hammer. Glenn Landstrom has entered the mix. Good friend of the channel, Alex Sterling, or Solidus on Twitch, if you're on the Twitch. He's another good dude. And me, Jeremy, and OEF5 met him, and our friend Jayway, they're all Twitch streamers. If you guys are on Twitch and want to see some fun fishing, that is a great way to do. Ooh, that reminds me, I need to give a shout out tonight for Mr. OEF5, who went out and, dude, you're nuts. I can't believe anybody went and fished today, but damn if you didn't. And you went and had yourself a day. So I fished Friday, and I could not get bit all day long. And about 30 minutes into the end of the tournament, I started flinging a Senko up against tree roots, and finally, one little 9-inch Debo dink decides to come out and eat my bait and keep me from getting skunked. Now, I kept fishing because I wanted to put some fish on the board for Catch 22 since, Graham was in Cincinnati this weekend. But, I was never so happy to catch one little dink before the tournament ended. Right after the tournament ended, I got 2 more bites on the wacky rig, but I didn't get a hook in them. Well, it was a Texas rig Senko weightless. I was skipping it up under a bunch of different stuff. Again, just trying to find fish. And had one fish come off right at the boat, had another one. The Senko got wrapped around the hook, and so when he opened his mouth, I did not get a hook in him, and he came off. But then I was like, I'm going to fish for a couple more minutes, then I'm going to get on the road and get back, because poor Gunner had to go out. And next thing I know, skip, twitch, wow, caught me a tank of a fish, 19 3/4 inches. Of course, it's after lines out. But when you catch a big fish here in Indiana, I don't care. It made my crappy tournament day just that much sweeter. And then yesterday, I go out, I'd get on the water with salmon searcher Bobby and one of his buddies, who's now a good new good fishing friend, Aaron. And we did a float on the White River, chasing smallies, fishing another grubby tournament. And I put in at the wrong place. I cruised like, I don't know, forever down the river trying to find where they were. Turns out they had put in a boat ramp before mine. So I'm sitting here passing all this beautiful looking smally water, just trying to buzz down it. And I catch and meet Aaron, and we're sitting there BSing and fishing in this pool above some ripples. So I had tied on a thunder cricket and a trailer, and I just start making casts. We start to see some action going on, and dunk. First fish of the day, my PB Smalley. So there we go. 2023 fishing, wishing, mission, wishes accomplished, just like right out the gate. I end up catching one more Smalley the rest of the day because I spent a lot of time just getting down the river. And then it seemed like by the time I caught up with Bobby and them, and we actually sat down and started trying to catch fish, it's like the bite window was over and I couldn't find nothing. But you know what? Again, crappy tournament, great day because I caught the PB. But that being said, I'm also in another tournament, which is the Moving Water Outfitters Hoosier Big Bass Hunt. Your biggest smallmouth, your biggest largemouth combined scores. And then at the end of the year, they have, prizes for that stuff. I'm currently sitting in 4th place in Indiana, and I've only been fishing 3 times this year. That's not a bad start. So I think I'm on a good pace for catch 22 as well. But, so my tournament weekend sucked, but the big bass hunting tournament weekend was pretty dang good. So, you take it with a grain of salt. Now, all of that to circle back around to Twitch, Matt went out and fished today, OEF 5, in the Brush Creek where I caught the little dink on Friday. It was a tough bite. He's out there. This dude, he was sick yesterday. The weather, we had a storm rolling in. So wind, rain. He's out there in, his paddle kayak on the Bonafide fishing. And I'm like, bro, you are insane. And he's like, I got to do it. So he goes live on Twitch. Jeremy sent me the message this morning. Matt's live. I'm like, are you nuts? He goes out there. I'll tell you what, he figured it out. He had the worst front coming in, the conditions stained. Lord knows he picked up a buzz bait and smacked him. He was in 15th by the time the second round of storms came in. And at some point, he had to just stop. He's got a bad shoulder. He just had an MRI on. He's probably getting ready to get some work done on it. And between fighting the wind, the rain, the wind really blowing him around everywhere, and throwing that buzz bait for so long, he lasted about 3 or so hours, maybe a little more. But he put 3 fish on a board on a day when many people skunked and many other people only had 1 fish. So he pretty much just laid the wood to him. If he'd have had the strength probably to fish the whole day, he probably could have got a limit and finished in the top 10. So kudos to Matt for hanging out, doing what you do. For me, true kayak bass angling, out there in a kayak with a paddle, just getting it done. So got to tip my head off to Matt. He did great. It was only his second grubby tournament, and he put 3 fish on the board, and I'm betting he probably could have caught a couple more the way he was going. And then the second tournament yesterday, our friend Bobby goes out and he puts the limit up, and he probably had 8 or 9 smallies. And but I call him the Smalley Whisperer. That's kind of when he learned to fish, he learned by fishing for smallies first. So it was cool to be able. I had a great weekend. Kind of recapping all of that. So congrats, one for Bobby for putting 5 on the board and then some. I think he probably just uploaded his biggest, but he probably could have uploaded like 9 or 10 throughout the day. So that was really cool. And then a big congrats to OEF5 for putting the smackdown on them, in the worst, kind of conditions. It was crazy. Jeremy, you didn't fish at all this weekend, did you?
No.
I think that's a first, but you were out laying the wood on them the week prior, because right now you're leading the Freedom Squad with Big Bass of the year, because you've got like a 20 already, right?
20 and a quarter. Yeah, that's the only big fish I've caught this year, but I was happy to have her. So
yeah, oh yeah. So
I mean, yeah, I've got my 5 for the Knucklehead Challenge, so I can go, I at least have a pathway at the end if need be.
Yep, 100%. So in the Freedom Squad, I'll call it the Freedom Squad Challenge because it's not official, but yeah. Well, Salmon Scherzer made a good point, because he's caught some 20s in his neighborhood pond too. He just, like you said, those are private fish, so he doesn't upload those. But I mean, the thing is, we're having a good chance at finally getting on some bigger fish. And like I said, you guys have been at it for a couple of weeks. I got out for the first time last weekend, and then way overdid it this weekend. I mean, yeah, the raccoon eyes is starting to come back in nicely with the tan line. But so there we have it with our knucklehead. So if you guys aren't in the knucklehead, as soon as May gets over, I will have Chad Hoover do a random draw from everybody who's participating in the May challenge. And like I said, I have some prizes lined up already. I've got a Dakota Lithium 23 amp battery. I've got a Dakota Lithium 10 amp power box. For everybody who signs up for the Knucklehead, you're going to be entered in the drawing for the Old Town Fishing Kayak. I've got a Lew's Tier 1 rod and reel combo. Tom is going to provide that. And then I'll have another one with American Legacy Fishing for, I think it was $100 gift card. And so I will keep working on our various sponsors and partners with the with the channel to grab more prizes for everybody who participates. I may try to do up some trophies from Catch, but they're super busy right now, so I don't know if that's going to happen. I may just have to print you up a nice little "you won" or you did some things. I'll have to do some other prize packs for. I'm thinking whoever it was out of everybody who entered, whoever had the smallest limit, that's because you came out, you gave it your all, and you put 5 fish on the board, and we'll do that too. So, and so we'll keep it real there too. So. Let's see. I talked about the Big Bass Challenge, Knucklehead, the Bassmaster Classic. It's time for your Monster Bass update.
So on that front, things are going really good. I have managed to catch what I consider more fish because I've changed up what I normally do in the spring, and I have really been catching fish on a jig with a rage tail trailer. And then the big fish came swimming a rage tail on a 1/8 ounce tungsten from Monster Bass, and
Their little football jig, yeah.
Yep. And she just crushed it. I mean, I couldn't believe how good she fought.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the fattest fish I've caught in Indiana. So it was making me miss Texas a whole lot more.
Now, for those who may be first time joining us, tell us what your Monster Bass Challenge is.
So this year, every tournament, everything I'm in, all of my fish will be caught on Monster Bass baits or things that they give in their boxes, have on their websites. So I feel like they offer such great products that I was losing nothing by fishing exclusively Monster Bass products. Rick has been great in supporting it. So, I'm really looking forward to this year, and it's just going to make me try that much harder.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things too, because, a lot of people may not be into the subscription box thing. And, I get that, some people they're more advanced from that. And I look at it as the boxes are a good way to try baits that you never would have tried. To be completely honest, and everybody who's been part of the fishing fam since I started, even back when I was doing unboxings, the whole point for me, even somebody who's fished for my whole life, was, getting something different and trying it, because I've always thrown Zoom. It basically, if you can find it in Walmart, that's what I lived with, because my philosophy back when Jeremy and I were fishing tournaments was I really only fish the stuff that I can find in Walmart, because no matter where we were fishing, what lake we were visiting, if I needed a restock of something, I could go to Walmart and find the baits that I was using. Strike King, Lew's, Berkeley, all the staples that you find there in Walmart. So if not for Monster Bass and playing with it, which I got lured to Monster Bass from their Strike King bundle a couple years ago. And, I got like $80 or so worth of stuff for like a third of that. And you know what? Honestly, the Thunder Cricket that I caught that damn PB Smalley with yesterday was actually the Thunder Cricket that was in that Strike King package. And the reason why I know that is because I was in the drawer that I keep all my jig making and jig tying stuff in. And that Thunder Cricket happened to be in there because I was going to put a new skirt on it and never got around to it. And while I was boxing up the jig making stuff for Jeremy to play with, I found that Thunder Cricket, threw it in my bag, and took it with me to the tournament. And lo and behold, that original Thunder Cricket, the first one that I got from Monster Bass, caught me my PB Smalley. So I'm actually going to cut that one off of the chatterbait rod and hang it up on the wall, because that's going to be another piece of memorabilia that now means something to me until I break my next PB Smalley. But hey, the Hellraiser. And then, then it happened to be the Thunder Cricket. So that was my tie back into Monster Bass. And then now Jeremy is showing, and where I was going with that, some of the brands I never would have tried, probably X Zone, which I absolutely love. The Baby D-Bomb. I've heard people talk about it, but until Monster Bass did those special run of colors last year, and now I'm not going to dig it out.
You
I'm
got
kind
that
of
early candy, don't you?
I've probably got 12 or 15 more of those Baby Burley Candy jig trailers, because in slightly stained to clear water on a back of a green pumpkin jig, that bait is just fire. I mean, there is nothing I like more than that little Baby D-Bomb.
And
so
I fished the Baby D-Bomb on a Texas rig.
Yep.
And it's really, really showing out. So
yeah, I mean, I love the action on that. And I like the bigger D-Bombs as well. I could see me throwing that on a free rig or something like that. But I mean, that Baby D-Bomb, because I like small jigs. There are times where I will throw big jigs if I'm like ledge fishing or things like that in the kayak. But for the majority of the time, I love the tiniest, 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce finesse jigs that you can throw on a medium heavy, casting rod, and that little trailer. And to me, they just tear that thing up. So I mean, that was really cool too. So I mean, so there's a variety of baits, and you can't always get something brand new in a Monster Bass box. But you know what? With them merging and doing a box now with Major League Fishing and getting access to all the new baits from Rapala, Guggen Baits, 13 Fishing, and a bunch of the other stuff too, that's just going to add that much more variety to the Monster Bass brand, and opportunities for you to pick that stuff up for a price. I can't believe I never even thought of this, guys. If you're shopping on Monster Bass, use code GRAMPS, not Gramps 10, but just use code GRAMPS and save 20% at checkout. I literally can't believe Rafi set me up a code and I forgot to tell everybody about it. So yeah, if you're shopping on Monster Bass and want to save some money on the sales and stuff, put code GRAMPS at checkout and save 20%. Can't believe I never thought of that. So yeah, so what Jeremy's doing this year is fishing all of his stuff. He's using Monster Bass baits or baits that come in. So the funny thing is your bait line is actually going to increase a bunch when they start adding in the stuff that they get from Major League Fishing to start putting in the new boxes too. So you're going to have even more variety to play with.
And the soft plastics Rick's coming out with, I cannot wait to get my hands on.
Yeah, that'll be interesting when I can
get say, that. Yeah, I can see myself really going to town on those. So awesome.
Yeah. So we got a lot of people asking what's going on. So let's stop teasing them, stop messing with them. And you had, let's start with your recent doctor visit, and kind of give us a kind of fill us in with what's going on with your bad wing.
So, as you guys know, I normally don't smoke on the lives because they're it, to me it's not right. But tonight I'm a little anxious. I'm a little nervous. I'm not really one to kind of talk about things like this, but it's needed. So here's what's going on. I've always known that the older I get, the more problems I'll have with my arm. And I had an appointment because for the last couple of months, I've lost quite a bit of function, but the pain has become unbearable.
If you would, Jeremy, back up a little bit and tell the story of what your detachment, and kind of lead into that so they
Oh,
understand what you're currently
okay.
dealing
So,
with.
yeah, real quick, I ended up having the tendon to my bicep severed. When I went to the VA doctor scheduled the surgery, opened me up, sewed me back up, said the surgery was a success, sent me home. And 9 months later, when I couldn't feel my arm, I went back to the VA, confronted the doctor. He used some choice words that I recorded, and I kind of left it at that. But because of the no feeling in my arm, I snowballed, went down a rabbit hole, ended up going to the VA domiciliary. Um, while I was there, my psychiatrist, um, she did some research, found that no, the surgery hadn't been done. Actually, found out that there was nerve damage caused during the attempted surgery. So through that, she was able to get. She was granted me outside access, which sent me to one of the best in the world to try to repair my arm. Um, he did an amazing job. I can't say good enough things about it, but he did tell me that the damage was permanent, that it would over time get worse. Um, but he did the best he could do. So I've been on pain medication for nerve damage. It's called gabapentin. You can look it up. Um, and it worked really good for the last couple of years. And then all of a sudden, it's not effective at all. So I talked to my doctor, and the course of action that he's come up. Now he's been with me through all of this, so he knows it all. He told me we're going to do an injection in my arm. We are going to change my pain medication to Lyrica. They're going to have a custom sleeve made for my arm. And we're going to try that for the next 6 months and see if that maybe helps. And if not, then they're going to go in and remove my bicep. Um, another surgery that recovery will be very lengthy for somebody my age. And we won't know until after that just how well it does. So at this point, my hopes aren't that high, but it made me reevaluate what I want to do and how I'm going to do it. I had been planning on trying to do more of the upper level events that I feel like I have the skill for. And now I've decided that it's not going to be about me at all. It's going to be about the experiences I can share with JT. The things we're going to do this year, I am going to be doing a lot and trying a lot harder because unfortunately, I have to make this decision in 6 months. And yeah, so I changed my priorities.
So for those, those who know, Jeremy and I both qualified for the kayak bass fishing national championship by, making the top 100 in the last one that we fished in. So this year that left us free to kind of cruise and do a lot more local derbs and play the catch 22 and, the knucklehead stuff. And we also plan on getting on the water, going to a lot of different state parks and sharing our experiences, with the Freedom Squad guys and in just ourselves as well as, two brothers doing what we do and kind of showing what it is that we love about kayak bass fishing and bass fishing in general, hanging out and being, doing what two brothers like to do, and that's fishing, So that's kind of changed because, like, Jeremy's kind of under a timetable. And, if he's got to go through and do this thing with the bicep, depending on when they do it, that may have him out of the game for a while, especially early next spring when we want to be kind of on the water, or getting ready to go to the national championship down at Wheeler Lake in Gunnersville. So we did some looking around and we realized what we were kind of skipping out of on this year was the KBF State Challenge Series National Championship, which is going on in October. And that's also going on. I can't remember if there's something else going along with it too, but that's when that one is. Normally they're married up with the big one, but this year, because they pushed the KBF NC forward a year because they wanted it in the spring versus the fall. It's not on the calendar this year, but then it'll be hosted next spring. So due to the fact that Jeremy may, not be able to fish the same again after the surgery, because you just don't know until you know. He wants to take what time he has left and focus on qualifying for the State Challenge Series National Championship, which, I say we because we're both going to do this now. We are going to, bust our butts and jump into the KBF monthly challenges, which for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's kind of like the Knucklehead Series. They're month-long derbs. And, we're going to be fishing for points. And then there's also a qualifier to get you there. So if Jeremy ever wanted to take a shot at being, one of the champions in KBF, this is one way he can do it. So he's going to devote a lot of his summer really focusing on that. And that may push a lot, push aside some of our, visiting places. But then again, you never know. We might pull into some lake where we're, kind of doing this and smack into a big one too. So, it's one of those things where this is not what you want to have happen. But Jeremy and I are both grown enough to know that we take the cards as they're dealt. When you enlist in the military, you deal with that, and even through life, challenges always come to us. We were both shocked. We were both shocked a couple years ago to find that our, mother had cancer, and just out of nowhere. And you never, our dad's dealt with cancer 3 times and kicked its ass every time. And, that wasn't mom's fate. And, she went to spend her eternal life up in heaven and, watching down on what we do. And, we've learned that you just deal with stuff as it happens. Jeremy's had his issues. I'm sure it shocked Jeremy to when I had my first heart attack at 35 years old as a young dude who was still in good shape back then. The funny thing was I didn't even get fat until after I had my first heart attack, and then I quit smoking and ballooned up, and then had another one 4 years later. But it's one of those things where our family is we've all kind of had various issues. My sister deals with allergies that, if not for a National Guardsman saving her life on the side of a road by her basically pulling over and coming out of her car and crawling on the ground, and a National Guardsman who saw her and was able to administer her EpiPen and saved her life. it's one of those things where we've all just, we've kind of dealt with what life's thrown us. And we're going to continue to do that because we believe in what we're doing right here. So that being said, Jeremy and I are going to, change some of our attention. There may not be a whole lot of YouTube videos on the stuff that I thought I wanted to do this year, but times and priorities sometimes change. That being said, I'm going to do the best that I can to capture the adventures of Jeremy chasing these goals, and then also us, hitting some different waters and sharing time on the water with other people. It's just one of those things. I too struggle and, have my own battles to fight with my weight and arthritis and broken, we each all have our things out there to conquer. But like Jeremy said, our goal, and when I say this and I say our goal, is to continue to do what we like to do and share this passion with you guys out there. So I guess that leads into the last piece of it, huh, bro?
Yeah.
So flipping the script a little bit and you get something a little happier. You recently met with your other set of doctors on the mental health side. Step us through how that's been going.
So they are fully supportive and very encouraging for me doing this, because they have given me challenges that I apply to my fishing, and then I report back to them, and they are very impressed with the progress that I have made in being able to do some of the things that I've been able to do, and how they could never imagine me being here on YouTube doing a live stream, and that is another form of therapy, because it's like I have all these friends here that actually care about what I'm going through, and that I don't go down the rabbit hole of nobody knows, because I've been a very secretive person. I've hid a lot of things, and I got to the point where I couldn't hide anymore, and that's what broke me or made me bend. I ain't broke, because I bent as far as I could bend, but I made it through it. So
you're like one of them G Loomis rods you love.
Man, I tell you. So having the courage, because of all of you guys, to be able to sit here and do this, my therapist and my psychiatrist agree that this is very healthy for me, and it's something that keeps me positive.
Yep.
So that's kind of the flip side of it. What I thought I was going to be doing isn't really what I think God has planned for me. So I'm going to go with what he has planned for me, because in my mind, he's never wrong. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So
yeah. So that being said, I was talking to Jeremy at the beginning of the year, and I was like, when I go through and I talk about the various partners that we have here on the Fishing with Gramps channel, I honestly, I'd be doing wrong if I didn't talk about all of them. Obviously, our headline sponsor, American Legacy Fishing and Outdoors, Lose and Strike King, Do It Molds, Monster Bass. Now I'm, officially partnered with Monster Bass. I also work with Catch boards, the Catch Products boards, and a couple others, Moving Water Outfitters and so forth. But the thing with Do It was what really amazes me is it's like I told the guys that Do It, it's like, man, I did not meet my contractual obligations last year. I said we got focused on fishing the KBF NC National Championship, and I just didn't make as many videos as I should have been. And so I reached out to our boy Drake and was like, I understand if you don't want to renew your contract with me, and all this. And he comes back to me. He's like, dude, he said, I look at it the other way around. We put too much on you in your first year because you don't have the amount of molds and gear and things that everybody else has. we thought what you're doing with your basic, bait making, videos was completely awesome. And, I was shocked. I told Jeremy, I was like, I can't believe they kept me on, I said, I just, it's one of those things where I don't know if I have time. And Jeremy said, he said, bro, I've got, when I'm not fishing, I need stuff to do here in the house. He said, he says, let me help you and we'll make stuff to put on your, put on the page for Do It Molds. And, Jeremy's got experience in making baits in the past, of all different kinds. And so when I went back and said, hey, Drake, I said, I have an idea because, this is what we're going to do. And I said, Jeremy needs another form of recreational therapy to keep him busy when he can't be out fishing. And he wants to make baits. And I proposed to them, how about Jeremy, I'm just going to have him take all of my stuff. And Drake loved this because, now he knows he's supporting another veteran who's using bait making as a form of veteran recreational therapy. And so Jeremy is going to take over because even when he loses his bicep, if the doctor has to remove that, he'll still have function in his hand. So one of the things that's going to be good for him as a former woodmaker, silversmith, jewelry maker, to keep the dexterity in his hands is going to be making baits. So Drake at Do It was completely ecstatic about this. So we'll take Jeremy will shoot the videos for making baits and, sharing, as he's learning and going, too. And then obviously I have the time and the skill to edit those videos. So for us as, kind of partnering in this here on, on the channel, this is now they're all asking what kind of jewelry you make. Jeremy used to make all kinds of good stuff. But it was a lot of higher end jewelry. But yeah, he so that's one of the cool things. But I guess to the point, we're about an hour in. You guys keep asking about the last episode of Gramps Live. Yes, this is the last episode of Gramps Live. Going forward, there will be a new live stream. We're actually going to put together podcasts. We're going to put together Two Brothers Fishing podcasts. So, yes, this is the last Gramps Live, but this is not the last of JT and Jeremy Hickman on the live stream. Now, are we going to rebrand the channel? Yes, at some point, because this has grown to where it's not about me. It's going to be more about we and the Two Brothers Fishing podcast. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody who's worried about Freedom Squad Fridays, those are still going to happen every now and then. It's, when we get a chance to get me, Matt, Jeremy, Ralph, Bobby in here doing those live stream free-for-alls, Freedom Squad Fridays will live on. But Gramps is going to evolve over to Two Brothers Fishing, and we will go forward from there. You'll see the name change at some point in time, which is funny. I go to the Classic, and me and Jeremy hand out, 10 million Fishing with Gramps stickers, but it's just one of those things. But this channel is becoming more, it's not me. We named this channel Fishing with Gramps for our grandfather. So I was never the actual Gramps that we were talking about. It was the man that got Jeremy and I into fishing together. It was a tribute to him. And I fully believe that Grandpa would love the direction that we're going to go with Two Brothers Fishing on YouTube here going forward. And you guys know I wasn't going to let you down. You're the Fishing Fam family.
That's right.
So it's one of those things. So yes, the thumbnail wasn't clickbait. It's truly the last episode. But going forward, and the cool thing about it is with Two Brothers Fishing, if sometime Jeremy can't be here, our other brother Matt can fill in at the microphone like we've done in the past, because y'all know, you're the Fishing Fam out there, and we wouldn't leave you hanging like that. And I'll go ahead and pin this one because just so y'all know, One of the
Love
other
it, Chad.
goals that
I love it.
one of the other goals that we're gonna smash now that I've done with the PB and meet and build dance. Wednesday morning, my ass is up at dark 30, heading south to Gunnersville to hang out with that dude who's going to put me on some damn fish, and we're going to kill this frog challenge once and for all. So I look forward to spending some time down in Gunnersville with Chad and going through stuff like that. Yeah, Gunnersville, Wheeler, wherever Chad takes me to give me, and I know how it is. I got to set the hook. I got to do the work. But if we're going to do this, let's go hunt for a tank, right? Because I
Yep.
still got another PB on the catch board that I got to break as well. And how cool would it be if I did them both in the same cast using this damn frog so that we can do this giveaway? So, man, it's been a lively live stream. I saw over 110 concurrent viewers in here, which has been the biggest live stream that we've ever had on this channel. And like I said, I already know that working with our current partners, American Legacy Fishing, is behind everything we do, as is Rick and Rafi at Monster Bass, as is Drake at Do It Molds, as is Tom at Lose and Strike King. So again, and I also have to mention, we're also partnered with KBF because we love kayak bass fishing and everything that they stand for, either on the pro side, but you guys know we're more about the state challenge series stuff, the knucklehead stuff, the fish ops, catch 22. Am I going to take my retired board for that frogfish? Nope. I put a 19 3/4 fish, which is a tank here in Indiana. That board stays right there on the wall where it belongs. And I can't thank Chad and crew at Catch for customizing me one, but I took it out for the first tournament that I fished this year, and I put a 9-incher on it that almost didn't clear the logos. And then we finished the day with that monster 19 3/4 fish, and that will do. That's what I said I wanted to do with it. So I am not going to take a chance, and I'm not going to take a chance. Knucklehead 1v1 maybe. Hey, bro, you take me out and we go. And I'm going to say this now, and this will be the first one. I've been saying since last year when I thought of it, I want to start doing segments called On the Water With. In the future, it'll be Jeremy and I, so two brothers fishing with. But I want to start doing a segment on the channel called On the Water With. And the first one of those episodes is going to be On the Water with Chad Hoover. So somebody I now consider, technically Jeremy and Matt and Bobby were my first On the Water withs, but I want to really do a segment called On the Water With, and the first one, no better timing to be than my Navy veteran buddy Chad, to go out and hang out with and spend some time on, as we work together, Freedom Squad, KBF, Heroes on the Water, all of us out there trying to heal the homeland heroes in this country, including ourselves. Jeremy needs it. I need it. Chad needs it. It's just one of those. We've had a rough generation of all kinds of things going on, and even outside of the military stuff, it's just one of those things where fishing, where fishing is just what we consider something that heals us all. Jeremy, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling a whole lot better. I'm glad to have gotten that off my chest.
You did a great job of keeping from
And I love the direction we're going with this, because we've talked a lot about it over the last however long, and I just think it's where we're supposed to be.
Yep. Because it started with you and I. We started with Grandpa. Dad wasn't into it that much, and Dad was doing other stuff when we were younger. Dad took us camping and gave us the love of the outdoors in the first place, but Grandpa really put us onto the fishing thing. And I'll say this for Dad, though. You remember when he used to take that damn blow up raft, and we would go out and try to fish out of it in Martin State Forest. I was like, I can't believe we haven't popped and sunk this thing, but we never did. So I got to give Dad credit for pumping up a stupid raft just to get us on the water because we didn't want to fish on the bank all the time. So, we all ask obviously for your blessings and prayers for Jeremy as he deals with his arm that's degenerating. It's one of those. Here's the other guy who probably knows my fishing best next, right behind Jeremy. It's my old fishing partner, Mike Brock. And that's 100% right there. Spinner baits, jigs, and Bennett crankbaits. And that's all. That's all I need to do. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to go find some Terminators and I'm going to do an episode where it's nothing but spinner baits, jigs, and crankbaits. I'll have to leave the chatterbaits home because when I was in the back of his Ranger, that's basically all I brought because it's all I needed was one of those three would catch me some fish. I contributed here and there, but Mike was really the hammer who behind Jeremy taught me, most of the things I know too. But yeah, I mean, so again, we didn't want to tease you guys for too long. I don't want to keep you up too late. When we start doing our new lives, they will be on Sunday nights, going back to that schedule. But again, at least every other month or so, we're going to be doing the Freedom Squad Fridays. And for those of you who are in Indiana and participating in the Grubby and follow me on Grubby Talk, I'm going to be doing a every other week Grubby Talk on the KBF and the Grubby Facebook pages, giving updates for all those damn hammers around Indiana who just lay the smack down on them every week. So, yep, I'll be on the air on Grubby Talk quite a bit on KBF and Grubby. But then Jeremy and I will be coming back. New channel name, new podcast. I don't know how soon I'll change the channel because I think I still have to wait a little bit from changing it back from JT Hickman. This one, Mike, Mike M, stay subscribed to this channel. I'm not going to start this from scratch. I mean, this is no longer about me. This is no longer about Gramps. This is about, us and we. So we'll rename it Two Brothers Fishing. So when you start seeing it from there, and when I'm in somebody else's live stream, I will be on my other YouTube account, which is just JT Hickman. And, Jeremy, you can find is Jeremy Hickman or your Old
Town Angler for now.
Old Town Angler, yeah.
I'll probably change it back to Jeremy when we do this.
Yeah, so you'll find us on YouTube as, JT and Jeremy Hickman. I won't be uploading any other videos to that one. It'll just stay, I'll put my branding stuff on it too, just so you know who it is. But then the focus of this channel will go from Fishing with Gramps, where we started teaching the basic stuff, to carrying forward, with our adventures as two brothers fishing, because that's truly what it's going to be. All right, bro. Feel better?
I feel better.
All right. With that, everybody, thank you for popping in tonight. I was going to do a giveaway, and I just, you know what? Let's go ahead and bang one out. I'm gonna let me find the page first. Got to do a giveaway, right? I did a giveaway last night on Debo. I got to do one for us here. StreamYard giveaway. Choose this broadcast. I'm not going to do something super long. I am just going to, for my good friend Sly Fox Fishing, it's got to be the obvious hashtag. Just because I love you guys, and you have been so entertaining with this damn thing all these years. I don't know why Shane is calling, but he's going to have to wait. Giveaway tool, StreamYard, share. Let's go ahead and
love it.
Let's go. I'm in a live stream. You got to wait. Later. I figured Shane was gone. Why do you mean there's no more live streams? So yeah, hashtag frog to get in, and I'll put together a bait pack, and it won't include a frog. But yeah, and where the whole bait pack thing stems from is I have this huge mess that looks like somebody threw up a tackle store behind me, and I have to figure out what do I need to bring besides like 2 frogs, some jigs and chatterbaits, Drop shot. I need Chad to like tell me what, you know. Hunter, you think you're funny, don't you, dude?
Yeah.
Did you just want to be on the air, you know?
I just wanted to be on the air. Yeah, I just needed to be there.
Bye, Hunter.
What's up, Hunter?
Dork. So yeah. We love the stupid frogs. I know how that goes. All right, how many we at? Let's get to, geez, we're already at 58. Holy cow. I'm going to have to come up with something good on this one. I've got a bunch of something good. No, I'm not bringing, no, Chad, I got to bring some baits. I mean, shoot, I've got stuff. It's all thrown up all over the floor. I'll bring my basics then. Knowing me, I'll probably have it all stuffed in the deck by the time I get down there too. But yeah. He tells me bring nothing. He literally would too. But this again, you guys have been incredible tonight. Of course, we had to do a drawing. Can't believe we're at 60 over #frog. Of course, we're over at 60 with #frog. But yeah, I think we hit over. I'm actually gonna look. What did we hit at max tonight? It was over 100. I don't even know. What a great stream. So yes, guys know that we're not gonna, and I'm not gonna keep this going too long. And let's get 3 more entries, then I'll draw. 3 more, and everybody who wants to hit up, too late, going now. So the winner of our bait prize of random crap that Gramps pulls up that's on the floor down here is going to be Hoosier Hagen, Indiana guy. Let's go. So,
all right.
Let me hide the comment, and I will. What I'm going to have you do is shoot me an email at. Where's my thing? Boom. Shoot me an email at fishingwithgramps@gmail.com. And what I always do is I'll have you confirm. I have a way of confirming people who, you know, whatever. So shoot me an email. I'll have you go through this stuff. We'll confirm your identity. I'll get your address, and then I'll get a bait package sent out to you. If it doesn't get out this week, don't get mad, because I'm going to go fish with Chad Hoover and catch a frogfish. So if I don't get it out before I leave, I'll ship it out as soon as I get back, and boom, we will be good to go. So awesome. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. See, it wasn't clickbait. It was the truth. It was the final episode. We're just starting a new chapter going forward, dealing with our own stuff, and yeah, trying to get everybody else to go out and do like we like to do too, because I can't wait to see Cairo out there whipping everybody's arse and catch 22. And I want to see some more kayak pictures from Cairo out there in her Jackson. Anybody else hop into an Old Town or a Bonafide or an Old Town, because I like Old Town. Pro Staff. Yeah. I'm still going to get with Mike Brock and let him take the Old Town out and go fishing so I can get him into one as well. Fish the way you like to fish. Jeremy, say goodnight.
Good night, all. Thank you.
And with that, we're going to get out of here. As always, it's that time of year. Get outside when you can and make some memories. That's what Two Brothers Fishing does. One cast at a time.